Welcome to this week's pitching preview brought to you by Fantasy Baseball Cafe. I'm Jason Gilbo. I'm taking a look at Week 14 here and running through some two-start pitchers, a lot of great streamers, and then with the Marlins losing Giancarlo Stanton, if you haven't been already, now you can really target them pretty heavily with streaming pitching. So plenty of streamers, lots of coverage for Week 14 ahead. Your two-star aces this week, Sonny Gray, Cole Hamels, and Garrett Cole. So not as many as last week, but still a couple of great guys there. Cole faces the Tigers and the Indians, but still a must start there. He's kind of earned that right for the rest of the season. Danny Salazar is getting the two-start this week. It was originally Carlos Carrasco with him, but it looks like he's just going to have the one, so a little disappointing there. They both take on the Rays and the Pirates. Even with their up and downness this season, you're still going to start them. Some risky starts, though. I'm going to head to Boston for two. Clay Buchholz takes on the Blue Jays in the Rogers Center and the Astros at home. The Astros have a 26% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching this season, so he has a ton of upside for strikeout potential there. But they also rank 8th in weighted runs created plus, and they're first in team ISO, so you can see the risk that that Buchholz brings. Take on the Astros. The Blue Jays, they don't strike out a ton, so the upside's not really there. And we've seen the damage they can do at the Rogers Center. I mean, right now they rank better than the Rockies do at Coors, so that's really saying something. And Buchholz just he's been hit and miss against Toronto in his career. Not great this season against them. He's allowed 11 earned in 3 starts, so I'm leaning towards sitting him there. But I'm probably going to fire him up against Houston. The young lefty, Eduardo Rodriguez for Boston, he'll have the same 2 starts. He's definitely not going to start against Toronto. They mash lefties, and being in the Rogers Center, he's going to hit the bench there easily. He allowed 9 earned against the Jays a couple starts ago, so that was really his real blemish, and then he's kind of looked not so good over the last start. So they rank top 3 against offense. He'll have a similar situation as Buchholz with Houston. They still have the high strikeout upside. That's a little more enticing, but still I could lean towards sitting him possibly for both starts. So one and done pitchers this week. Ryan Vogelsong, he starts against Miami, but you can sit him against Washington. Mike Bolsinger, you can start him against the Mets, but I am sitting him against Arizona. Dan Herron, this is a close call, but I'm going to start him against the Cubs. Some strikeout upside there. He's been okay this season, and but I'm going to sit him against the Giants. Sorry. And Jimmy Nelson, he was close to being a 2-starter this week that you could possibly stream, but he really struggles against left-handed bats. And heading to the Cincinnati Reds in the second start, I'm going to sit him, but fire him up against the Phillies. I'm pretty confident there. And then some streaming 2-arm guys. 2-start guys, go to Taylor Youngman for Milwaukee. He faces the Phillies and the Reds, but unlike Nelson, he really buckles down against left-handed bats, so that's a nice comfort factor there. Unfortunately, he's going to take on Cole Hamels, so I can't say run support's going to be an issue for the win there. But 2 quality starts this week, definitely against the Phillies, I like, and then the Reds, he should do okay. Phillies ranked dead last in weighted runs created plus, while the Reds are just at 17th around the league, just below the league average. Youngman has a nice 2.74 ERA over 4 starts, and really, I mean, he allowed 4 runs in Coors and got the win over 6 innings. So it's kind of impressive for a rookie going into Coors and taking on even a lineup that's missing Dickerson. He has a 3.19 FIP and a really nice solid ground ball rate of 56%. So he's looked a lot better than a lot of the Milwaukee pitchers so far this season, so I'm going to target him for possibly over the next few starts, definitely this week. Second streamer you're looking at for 2 starts, Kyle Hendricks for the Chicago Cubs. Gets really 2 solid matchups against the Mets and the Marlins. Both rank in the bottom 5 in weighted runs created plus, and they have strikeout rates near 21%. Hendricks has, been up and down this season, but he's taking care of the teams that he needs to take care of. Your Padres, Brewers, Marlins, those types of teams. So given him facing two weaker offenses, I like him a lot this week. He has an average 7.2 K through 9, but the matchups give him some upside in the strikeout department, so I like him there. Taking a look at just if you want to plan ahead for some streamers for the week. Monday, Jimmy Nelson. Not a lot going on Monday. Tuesday, of course, you have Taylor Youngman, Kyle Hendricks, Ryan Vogelsong, and then Ivan Nova looked really strong against the Phillies in his first start back off the DL. He'll take on the Angels, who rank around 20th in offense against right-handed pitching, so not an overly tough matchup there. Looking at Wednesday, Yan Chen for Baltimore, Doug Fister, Chris Heston, all taking on weaker offenses. Thursday, it's just lone John Lackey. Not like going on, just a light schedule on Thursday anyway, but John Lackey has a nice matchup against the Padres. Friday, I've been telling people to get off Julio Teheran for some time, but there were plenty of drops this week after his blow up against the Pirates. I may try him out there for one more start. He is better at home. I'm just not a big fan of him anyway, but he's taking on the Phillies, so I'm kind of going to overlook it. And if he's out there, if someone did drop him, yeah, you can fly him for a streamer this week. But unfortunately, I'm not rating him any higher than picking him back up. Also, you can try out J.A. Happ. Saturday, we get towards the weekend, it gets a little lighter. Saturday, Ubaldo Jimenez, Hector Santiago are two nice streamers, and Sunday, Mike Bolsinger is going to make that start against the Mets. And here, Jaime Garcia, he was scratched from his Tuesday start, so I'll talk about him a little bit later in the injury report, but if he pitches, I like him against the Padres at home. Diving into a pitcher profile this week, I'm taking a look at Jason Hamill. Arguably has been the Cubs, one of the top fantasy players outside of Rizzo and Bryant this season. He has the 19th best swinging strike rate in baseball right now, which is tied with Felix Hernandez and Zach Greinke. So that kind of says something with how good he has been. 2.65 ERA, which is 12th in baseball, and a 25.4 K percentage. And his walk rate's great. It's only just 4.4%. I think it's a really underrated stat. Because, you look at some of these other guys. Tyson Ross is in double digits, and he's kind of a similar pitcher because he has that fastball slider combo that they've been working with. But I don't know what it has been with Jason Hamill in Chicago, because if you remember, he went to Oakland in the trade for Jeff Samardzija, with him, and during the 2014 season, really struggled badly with Oakland, and then he returned to Chicago, and he's been back to what he was doing beforehand. His slider has been his most important pitch, as we've seen over the last 2 years. Beforehand, it wasn't really even a secondary pitch or an out pitch. He was using it less and less. But over the last 2 seasons, it's become his secondary out pitch. In 2014, hitters have a 191 average off of the slider. 2015 here, 153 so far. His cutter and changeup is just kind of an out pitch, or just for show, so he's not constantly throwing a fastball slider. But the slider fastball has been what's been successful for Jason Hamill here. Taking a look at some quick injury updates. Good news, Jose Fernandez and Matt Moore are back this week. They're joining the team. I believe I saw Jose Fernandez scheduled against the Giants. I'm not trying him out there. Giants have a pretty good offense against right-handed pitching, so I'll just give him a break. So maybe wait one more week before you run him out there. So I talked about Jaime Garcia last week as a nice pickup, and the only worry that's always been with him is him staying healthy. And I may have jinxed him, but he was scratched from this Tuesday start with a groin. He had groin injury, or I don't think it's serious. It looked like just cramps, but he missed his bullpen. So look for an update midweek. Of course, if he is starting that Sunday, I really like him a lot. So definitely look at him out there. Justin Verlander had his start pushed back this week with back tightness, but that's going to create a 2-start this week. I'm still waiting to see what he can do this season, but he's cleared for his 2 starts, so we'll see. Jake Peavy due back this week, while Matt Cain should be falling shortly. Tim Lincecum avoid a scare. He had a line drive come off of him, but nothing but a bruise, so good news with him there. Taking a look at a quick bullpen note, we remain playing musical saves here with the Blue Jays. Um, More recent, it was Steve Delabar who got the save on Wednesday. Roberto Osuna picked up today's save here on Sunday. And, Osuna's picked up the two of the three saves over the last week. I'm assuming they're going to lean towards him. I mean, both guys have been pretty good this season, but I think Osuna will get the majority of the saves. But it's going to be tough to see, going over the next week or so, what they're going to do. And then staying in the AL East, the Rays, Boxberger has picked up closed out the last three games. There's still Jake McGee and Jepson thrown in the mix every now and then. So I have no idea what their manager Cash is doing over there. But Boxberger has picked up the last three saves for what it's worth. But once again, I'm sticking with Boxberger and I'm leaning towards Osuna if you need any saves there. So that's going to wrap it up here for Week 14 pitching preview at Fantasy Baseball Cafe.